Guys, and welcome to my home today. Wasn't sure whether or not I was actually going to film and issue any words to you guys or not. I did that obviously after all of the stuff happened down in Orlando, and sometimes no matter what your intentions are and how well you try to come across with the thoughts that you have, inevitably it is misconstrued by someone, as it was in that case. But after watching some of the news things roll through today, I just don't know how any of us can choose to be silent anymore. Obviously, we have a huge problem, not only in our country, but really all around the world, with this thing called racism and people hating each other just simply because of the color of their skin or their nationality, for their differences, whatever that may be. And I know for a lot of years now, we've really had a push towards stopping the bullying, and we've tried to bring awareness and attention to how people are treated. And instead of things getting better, they just seem to be escalating out of control. And yes, we have a huge problem. This is not a non-existent issue. Unfortunately, it is a very real issue. It is a big issue. It's a major problem. We are cracked, we're broken, we are flawed, and we've got to do something about that, you guys. As I've been watching some of these news stories rolling in over the last few days, and just the utter chaos that is ensuing right now, people hating each other just because of the color of their skin, it is unfathomable to me. I cannot even wrap my mind around that, because that has never been an issue in my life. Not ever, not at any point. You know, we were brought up and taught better than that. I find it kind of ironic too, because this cup that I have right now says chocolate is always the answer, and I wish that in a case like this, chocolate could really be the simple solution. Unfortunately, even chocolate is not always the answer. We have a big problem, and it is a problem that, as I was saying, I just can't even seem to wrap my mind around. I cannot understand how someone can hate someone else because of the differences that lie there. I don't understand how people can hate each other, especially for ethnicity or for the color of skin. That is something that cannot even be changed. I don't even understand it whenever you hate someone who has a difference other than you, when it is a situation that can be changed, because hate is never the answer. However, I certainly don't understand it whenever it is about an issue of something that cannot even be controlled or changed. It's just, I've had a real hard time wrapping my mind around that one. I think probably the largest reason for me is because, you know, the Bible talks about the importance of us loving one another. Matter of fact, the Bible says that the only way that people know that we're Christians, it's not by how many times we go to church. It's not by how many Bible scriptures that we can quote. Whenever Jesus was talking to the disciples, and whenever you read his words echoed by the Apostle Paul, everything that was told us said that they will know you are my disciples by one thing, and that is by your love one towards another. Without love, what do you have? You know, I'm reminded of the passage of scripture where Paul said, you can talk in tongues of men and of angels, which is a heavenly language. You can do all kinds of good deeds, give a ton of money. You can pray for people and then be healed in their physical body, and just a whole barrage of things that you can do that seem to be good. But Paul followed that up by saying, but if you don't have love, all of those things mean nothing. And as a matter of fact, he was so brash in his statement that he said not only do they not mean anything, but they really become like clanging cymbals, like this just noisy, confusing sound that nobody enjoys if you're doing those things that still are not motivated by love. And I know that the closer that I get to God, the more that you feel his heart. And the more that you begin to truly love the things that he loves and you hate the things that he hates, as you come into a deeper awareness of who he is, loving people takes on a whole new meaning to you. Having compassion for them and their plight of life, whatever that may be, whatever their issues are, wherever there may be confusion or dysfunction or any of the things that would typically make us steer clear of people, as you grow closer to the Lord, honestly, you begin to have a compassion and an awareness of their situation that really makes you love them more in a way that is so hard to explain. The only thing that explains it is that you're looking at them through the eyes of Jesus. And even more so with skin color. I mean, for crying out loud, I know that not all of you that are going to watch this video have a relationship with Jesus, and you're not Christians, and probably a lot of you are not Christians because there have been so-called Christians in your life that has demonstrated the very thing that has sparked this video. There have been many Christians throughout the ages that have been so bigoted, so prejudiced, so racist, and that's on both sides of the coins, you guys. It is not just an issue of whites suppressing blacks and holding them back and being mean and ugly towards blacks, but it also works in the reverse as well. As a matter of fact, I'm reminded of an incident that happened at our church, and we were holding VBS, Vacation Bible School. For those of you who might not know what that is, it is a program during the summer, usually 1 week long, that we offer for the kids who are out of school, who might not have anything else to do. You try to offer a little activity for them every day of a week during the summer. And as we were holding this Vacation Bible School, one of the little fellas, he was only 3 years old. He had come in, and one of our workers was talking to this little kid. He was a little black boy, and she was just talking to him and telling him how much she loved him and different things like that. And he looked up at her with all seriousness and said, "Well, I hate you." And that kind of took her back, and she was shocked by that. And she says, "What in the world? Why would you hate me?" And his response back to her simply was, "I hate you because you're white." You know, racism does not only run from whites towards blacks, but it does also run from blacks towards whites. And not only that, but it runs from whites and blacks towards Hispanics, people of a Latino descent. It also runs from Asians towards Americans. You know, I still know of people who will make derogatory comments and have ill feelings towards anybody of a German descent simply because of things that happened way back in World War II. And people have taken on second, third, and fourth hand offenses and harbored a hatred in their heart towards a specific group of people, whatever that group is, whether it's the color of the skin, whether it's what nation they happen to be from, whether it is towards a certain cultural habit that people come from. People have hate in their heart towards people who are different than they are. That is why we even see one white can hate another white if the other white happens to profess to be a homosexual. That is how come even in the black community, one black man can hate another black man because one has risen out of the depths of poverty and actually made something great with their life, while another might still be stuck in a place of what they feel is disposition in society. It can happen across the board, and yes, it is a huge issue. It is big. It is something that we have got to work to correct. The question becomes, how do we do that? You know, we are seeing these violent marches. We are seeing protests that have escalated completely out of control, and that is not the answer, my friends. You know, I think back to Dr. Martin Luther King, who was an awesome man of God, who had a dream and who had a vision to see people, you know, whenever he made the statement, "I long to see a world where my children can grow up in a culture where they are judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin." That is I think that would have to be all of our dream. I think every single one of us, if we were completely honest, would have to say that that is our dream for ourselves, for our children, and for our posterity. There is no way that any of us, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever our background is, wherever we come from, none of us want to be judged based on what the exterior looks like. None of us. And you know, he handled things in a calm way. He handled and organized protests that were to bring awareness to a grave injustice that was being done, but he never advocated this violent, out of control, angry mob mentality that we are seeing right now. And it's not just necessarily a black-white issue, you guys. There has been other protests and rallies. I can remember not too long ago when there was a big, huge thing with this group of people who had turned themselves skinheads, who were Nazi in heart. They were white. Most of them were white American, and they came out very strongly against other white Americans who did not hold the same socialist philosophies that they did. You guys, this is an issue that is so much deeper than just race, just the color of our skin. And honestly, it really all boils down to a total heart condition. Like I said, I know that there are many of you who have probably been affected by a so-called Christian who didn't like someone of another background, another heritage, maybe sexual orientation, gender, whatever the issues have been, that such hate has been stirred in people. Hate comes from one place, and that is the devil, my friends. And I know some of you might not even believe in his existence. You might not even believe in this entity called Satan. That's your prerogative. It's up to you to choose to believe what you want to believe. But I happen to believe he's very real, and I think we are seeing evidence of his handiwork even in situations such as this. Because anybody who truly belongs to God cannot, it is not possible to have a heart full of hate, period. Whether you're black, white, Asian, Native American, wherever you happen to come from, your station in life, the color of your skin, what your heritage is, the fact remains there is absolutely no way that you can really truly be a child of God and have hate in your heart, period, bottom line. So what that tells me is that the solution to all of this is a greater awareness of our need for a relationship with Jesus and our need for him in our nation. Not just our nation, but all over the world. The need for people to truly come into a right relationship with him, to see others the way he sees them. You know, God is a very creative God. He created all of us. It was by his ingenious design who made us all so different for a reason. Could you imagine how boring the world would be if there was only one kind of tree, one kind of flower, no mountains, everything was just plain desert, or maybe everything was mountain? There is such a variation in his creation for a reason, and I believe it is the same way with people. It was in his creative design that he chose to give us different colors of our skin, and I think that just adds to the wonder of who he is, the creativity that he has in his mind to know that if he created us all to be exactly the same, everyone with the same skin tone, the same hair color, the same eye color, all of that, what a boring place this would be. And I think it is a slap in his face when we choose to hate people because of differences, especially if we claim to be Christian. If we claim to be one of his children and then hate with a passion what he has created, what does that say to him? And it is my goal in life to please him in everything I do, especially in the way that I view people. Does that mean I'm always going to agree with everything that people do? Absolutely not. No matter who you are, what the color of skin you have is, no matter what your job is, no matter your walk in life, it doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with everything you do. It doesn't mean I'm going to accept every behavior as though it is a right behavior. But it means that I am able to look beyond that, to still love you as a person, and to do my very best to help you become all that you can be. And I don't see that through violent protest that will ever be a solution. I don't really know the answer right now when you're in the midst of crisis, an immediate answer. I can tell you the long-term solution, and that is for people to get their hearts right with God. Even a lot of so-called Christians, to really get their heart right with God and to align their worldview with His worldview, because that is the only solution, the only way we can love each other. You know, the Bible is very clear. He said, not only do we love those who are like us, who are kind, who are a brother or sister, but He also went so far as to say, love your enemies, to bless those who curse you, to pray for those who spitefully use you. You know, God is serious about this love thing. He's very serious, and hate in our heart towards anybody will keep us out of heaven very fast. Probably quicker than a lot of the other so-called sins that we could have in our life. It is the hatred of people that displeases God more than anything else. As a matter of fact, when you look at the whole 10 Commandments, the first 4 are all about our relationship between us and God, and the rest of the commandments is about our relationship with people. Jesus was questioned, what's the greatest command? And even He said, love God, love people. On these 2 things hang all the law. So the way we fulfill God's law, the way we learn to please Him, is by first loving Him, and second, learning to allow Him to help us love people. If we are doing those 2 things, falling under the rest of what He expects of us is going to come fairly easy. So, you guys, we need a true revival in this nation. Maybe this is the kind of wake-up call that it's going to take to bring us back to a place to where we look beyond the exterior of people to truly love them again, to love each other, to come together in unity. There's nothing you can't do when you have unity. The enemy knows that. That is why he is trying so hard to bring division in this nation, to bring division really all over the world. He hates you. I don't know if you're aware of that, but he hates you. And he would love nothing more than to see you stuck in a heart full of bitterness and anger and hatred towards another human being. Because when he can get you there, he's got you. You belong to him at that point. He's got you. And we've got to rise above that, you guys. We have got to rise above that. The only way we're going to do it is by doing it. By learning to love people who are different than us, by embracing them as God's creation, by striving our best to help them to become all that they can be, no matter who they are, and by confronting in a right way things that are awry. So I'm just going to kind of leave that with you guys. I know it's always risky when you come on here giving your opinions, especially on world situations that are volatile. I hope you guys can hear my heart. And I hope you guys can understand that I truly do love everybody. I completely look beyond the color of skin. We all have the same blood running through our veins. We are all human. We belong to one race, the human race. And I think sometimes even in trying to celebrate our differences, we bring more awareness to the differences and create more division, although that's not our intent. And I have been saying that for years, even within the church culture. You have black congregations, you have white congregations, you have Hispanic congregations, and you know, people of like-mindedness want to get together and worship together, and nothing technically wrong with that. But when we celebrate the differences, we're bringing awareness to the differences, and we're keeping ourselves locked in the mindset of noticing the difference instead of everybody coming together. And that can be about so many more things than just the color of our skin or the ethnicity of where we're from. That can even go down to Baptist hating Methodist and Methodist hating Pentecostals and all that stuff. So much division that we have created that it is just time that we come together in unity of the faith and love each other once again. So that's my thoughts on all this. My heart is broken today. I am praying for this nation. I am praying for black families, for white families. I am praying for police families. I am praying for doctors' families. I am praying for the people who pick up our trash, their families, from every area of life, every walk of life, every profession of life, because it takes a change in every single one of us. And by changing ourselves and our view, then we will eventually change our world. So just going to leave that with you guys today. If you guys have any questions or anything that you need to talk about or just want to express yourself in some way and you don't feel safe leaving that in the comments below, feel free to send me an email, DeeVineDeeZine@yahoo.com, and I will respond as soon as I possibly can. Let's pray together and let's bring some healing to this world. We'll see you all soon in the next video.